cry me a river. She's just exactly everything that we can't stand.
She said, like, the tweet that everyone's been talking about is when she said, she talked about...
The first problem is that she's the evil queen. The evil queen is supposed to be envious of Snow White's
To
beauty.
everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces.
You see how young these women are. You know, like this woman, Rachel Zegler, she looks about 12 years old.
Zendaya's reaction to Rachel Zegler's Backlash goes viral. Did she just pick a side? Did anyone see this coming?
Every time she speaks, she gets less likable. There's some clip of her on the internet in her Snow White outfit saying, every hour I am in the outfit of Snow White wearing the dress. All 18 hours, I deserve to be paid for every single one. Oh, really? Are you having trouble paying your bills, Rachel? Did Steven Spielberg not pay you for your role in West Side Story? Did Disney fail to give you a healthy paycheck for, like, cry me a river. She's just exactly everything that we can't stand.
Rachel Zegler's name was already swirling in non-stop drama over that Snow White controversy, and then Zendaya's reaction suddenly catapulted everything into a new dimension. People are absolutely freaking out about what Zendaya allegedly did or didn't do, and whether she's quietly sliding into one camp of the debate or deciding to stay neutral. Everyone has an opinion, and the online speculation has reached an all-time fever pitch.
That Snow White producer's son slams Rachel Zegler for hijacking movie with political posts that clearly hurt the box office.
So what exactly happened? And why are fans convinced that Zendaya's subtle moves on social media might reveal she's choosing a side in the Rachel Zegler backlash? Buckle up, because this meltdown involves massive Hollywood egos, rumored woke marketing campaigns, and an actress whose political comments may have ruffled bigger feathers than she ever imagined.
They've been in a full meltdown about this girl for a couple of years now, and how they had her tweet out like a little, yay, Snow White, can't wait, so excited, I love to play her. And she did it and got like millions of views, and they were like, good job, Rachel. And then she, like minutes later, followed it up with, and never forget, free Palestine.
Insiders claim Rachel Zegler went from fast-rising star to the next major scapegoat practically overnight. She scored a coveted role in the Snow White adaptation, a supposed career milestone for any performer. But once her opinions hit the internet, everything spiraled. People began dissecting her past statements about the 1937 original film, complaining she was trashing a beloved classic.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
Then came the alleged political tweets that incensed certain corners of the internet, fueling calls to boycott the film. Meanwhile, Disney faced a perfect storm, overshadowed press tours, big rumored budgets, and controversies swirling around dwarfs, rewriting storylines, or possibly messing with beloved childhood memories. For many onlookers, it felt like the entire production was stumbling from crisis to crisis. Fans were left wondering how this overshadowed the actual movie. Weren't we supposed to be celebrating a new era for a classic princess? Instead, a swirl of polarizing chatter dominated social media. Critics accused Rachel of being too outspoken, while her supporters praised her honesty and youth.
Yeah, my dad, the producer of an enormous piece of Disney IP with hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie for which she signed a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid and do publicity for. This is called adult responsibility and accountability, and her actions clearly hurt the film's box office. Free speech does not mean you're allowed to say whatever you want in your private employment without repercussions. Tens of thousands of people worked on that film, and she hijacked the conversation for her own immature desires at the risk of all the colleagues and crew and blue-collar workers who depend on that movie to be successful. Narcissism is not something to be coddled or encouraged.
Caught in the middle were the behind-the-scenes workers, from special effects artists to marketing teams. Rumor had it that Disney even limited press access at one point, hoping Rachel wouldn't accidentally stir the pot further. Yet every time a new snippet of her interviews emerged or a rumored tweet resurfaced, the fires roared back to life. Suddenly, chatter about a mysterious Zendaya moment began making waves. Word on the street is that Zendaya might have clicked like on a post about Rachel Zegler's predicament, or left a telling comment that fans interpreted as support, or maybe a subtle critique. Nobody's sure because it was apparently fleeting. But that tiny crumb was all fans needed to ignite speculation that Zendaya was quietly championing Rachel or perhaps shading her, depending on how you interpret it. People screen-capped the alleged online activity, posted it on multiple fan forums, and basically declared it an expose moment. Why does this matter so much? Because Zendaya is considered Hollywood royalty right now, almost untouchable in her brand. If she so much as breathes in someone's direction, fans read it as a sign of approval or condemnation.
Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler joined together for a drastically scaled-down premiere of Disney's Snow White. Despite reports, there was tension between them.
The meltdown turned even more mind-boggling because the two actresses, from what little is known, haven't exactly appeared side by side in public drama before. They run in overlapping circles, both being part of major franchises, both forging new definitions of what it means to be a leading lady in modern Hollywood, but they aren't known to be best friends. So, if Zendaya actually weighed in on Rachel's controversies, even subtly, that might shift the entire narrative around Rachel's perceived troublemaking. People are asking, did Zendaya just extend an olive branch? Is she shading the chaos, or is she being mislabeled entirely? Naturally, some suspect the rumored online reaction was pure happenstance. Maybe Zendaya was simply doom-scrolling, accidentally tapped like, and carried on with her day. Others claim she was sending a deliberate message. For instance, those who adore Rachel Zegler think Zendaya recognized a young actress under fire and decided to show a little solidarity. Meanwhile, those who side with Disney or the outraged fans believe Zendaya was politely distancing herself, possibly indicating that Rachel's approach was reckless.
They flew an executive, one of the producers, out to go visit personally with Rachel Zegler to say, could you please take that down? Because we understand you can have your political views, but those aren't really helpful while you're trying to build an audience for a movie. Maybe you could save them for like your diary and your friends, but like maybe not, maybe just take the tweet down. And she wouldn't.
The irony is that none of this might even be real. No official statement from Zendaya's camp has clarified it. Yet in the land of Hollywood gossip, a rumor is often more explosive than a confirmation. What's truly fueling the mania is that Rachel's continuing meltdown has overshadowed any chance of a normal press cycle for the movie. Insiders say the massive budget grew more precarious with every misstep, especially since marketing these days can't ignore social media chatter. If the star at the center of the film is stoking online disagreements, intentional or not, executives start sweating about the box office. Then, throw in the drama about dwarfs replaced by digital stand-ins or the alleged tension between Rachel's political stance and another co-star's background. The result is a chaotic swirl that makes fans wonder if the film is downright cursed. Some argue that calling Rachel the reason the movie might flop is wildly unfair. She's young, still navigating the insane world of A-list stardom. Maybe she was just using her voice, unfiltered, passionate, without fully realizing how swiftly Hollywood can punish that. Others point out that this fiasco might teach studios to muzzle actors' interviews or write draconian clauses into contracts. Is that truly the direction we want? A lifeless promotional circuit with big grins and zero personality just to avoid making anyone mad? Then again, $200 million budgets are at stake, so you can see why studios freak out.
And then they had to hire a special media consultant for her to follow her around all the time and make sure she didn't continue shitting on Snow White and the prince and young love and women who want to get married and Steven Spielberg, the executive producer of her previous movie, and white people who she claims wanted to know if she was really a Latina on her first movie. Like, the list was really long.
The predicament leads many to ask whether future stars will sign away their rights to post political opinions during the promotional window. Against this larger backdrop, Zendaya's alleged cameo-like involvement becomes extra fascinating. She's often praised for navigating stardom with a near-flawless track record, striking that perfect balance between activism, brand building, and audience goodwill. She rarely fumbles. So if Zendaya truly weighed in even indirectly, is it possible she sees something of herself in Rachel? Or maybe she's warning her to tread lightly? Online speculation runs the gamut. People claim to have inside sources that Zendaya whispered cautionary advice to Rachel about toning down political statements. Others insist she's privately told Rachel not to apologize because the younger actress shouldn't betray her own convictions. Both stories could be pure fantasy, but they add spicy layers to an already blazing drama. A separate dimension to the meltdown is the rumored friction between Rachel and certain factions of the audience who felt talked down to. Fans replaying her older interviews interpret her comments about the original Snow White as flippant, mocking the film's romantic aspects. To some, that seemed disrespectful of a classic. For others, it was just a breath of fresh air from an actress who wants to modernize a dated fairy tale. The conflict ballooned when people started citing these opinions as evidence of Rachel's self-importance. She was pegged as that star who disdains the audience's nostalgia. Now every single statement she makes or tweet she likes is measured against that assumption. And it only got worse once the political angles barged in. Meanwhile, those who champion Rachel argue she's the scapegoat for a film with more structural issues. They note questionable creative decisions, tension behind the scenes, endless script rewrites, rumored confusion about the dwarves, and the swirling rumor that another star's presence injected contradictory political baggage.
Isn't this the one where they actually took the dwarves out of the 7 dwarves?
Yes, we have CGI dwarves now.
Okay, yeah, because little people didn't need jobs either.
Yeah.
But it's
Peter Dinklage wanted the whole field to himself. Went out there and was like,
the ladder down
this
behind
is
him.
insulting.
Yeah.
So is Rachel truly the meltdown queen, or just the most visible face attached to a turbulent production? The moment she steps out in public, people snap up every word she says, twisting it into the next big meltdown. Her defenders are furious that no one is stepping up to shield her from the negativity, especially given how quickly fans turn on stars these days. This is precisely why any sign of support from Zendaya, someone revered for her level-headed approach, creates a media frenzy. If she expresses empathy, that might calm the storm for Rachel, proving that big players in Hollywood empathize with her situation. Alternatively, if Zendaya subtly implied Rachel should watch her mouth, then the debate intensifies. Look, even Zendaya thinks Rachel messed up. Either scenario is catnip for tabloids and social media. The ripple effect of Zendaya picks a side could be a turning point in Rachel's entire crisis, fueling more think pieces about young women in Hollywood, authenticity versus caution, and how older generation stars might mentor or critique the new crop. What about the general audience? Some are too fatigued to care about behind-the-scenes drama. They just want a good movie that doesn't bury them in controversies. But with each swirl of rumor, it becomes harder to separate the actual film from its stars' personal stances. Others revel in the gossip, devouring every snippet as if the meltdown itself is more entertaining than the final product. Let's be real. In a digital age where memes, hashtags, and viral sound bites rule, controversies can overshadow entire storylines. That might be precisely why some believe Disney or other studios will soon introduce bulletproof PR strategies that block an actor from self-sabotage. The question, does that lead to a safer environment or a more sanitized one?
You want to hire someone for a movie that you think it's got a low risk of controversy and scandals, and I wonder if it's gonna affect Rachel Zegler's career from now on.
Even if the Zendaya angle never goes beyond rumor and speculation, the chatter around it spotlights Hollywood's precarious balance. Can an actress like Rachel Zegler speak her mind, champion causes she believes in, and still serve the corporate interests of a mega-budget blockbuster? Or will the system clamp down, warning future stars to keep personal opinions strictly offline, for fear of alienating potential ticket buyers? The meltdown has forced a conversation about authenticity in an industry that claims to champion it, yet often crushes it under the weight of market considerations. Fans, ironically, want authenticity from stars until that authenticity offends them. People keep refreshing social media for the next explosive or supportive statement. Meanwhile, Rachel's every move is scrutinized, and her supporters ask, is she just an easy scapegoat for a project that encountered multiple misfires? If the film does flop, no doubt some corners will pin it solely on her, ignoring deeper issues. If it somehow rebounds or garners favorable reviews, maybe that meltdown talk quiets down. But the internet never forgets, and this fiasco might color Rachel's career for years. She might have to tread carefully, rebranding or lying low until another big role redefines her public image.
She said, like, the tweet that everyone's been talking about is when she said, she talked about how she was excited about the movie coming out and everyone to see it and the premiering, and then she also added to the same thread, remember Free Palestine or something like that. That tweet was so powerful that the producer here flew to New York to Rachel Zegler personally to ask her to take it down.
Zendaya, on the other hand, remains perched on her near-perfect public persona. If she addresses the situation directly, something she rarely does with hot-button drama, she might quell some storms or pour gasoline on them. Maybe she'll continue her usual approach, letting the rumor swirl, overshadowing it with her own projects, and never giving a clear yes or no about picking sides. For fans, that's both intriguing and frustrating. But for a star like Zendaya, it's often the smartest PR move. remain just vague enough to let the frenzy die on its own. This meltdown, in the end, may teach up-and-coming actors a hard lesson. Freedom of speech is real, but so are the consequences when massive budgets and brand images are at stake. Whether Rachel regrets her bluntness or stands by it, only she can say. Many admire her candor, feeling it's a refreshing contrast to the over-polished facade so common in celebrity culture. Others want her to realize that millions of dollars and countless jobs hinge on a single tweet or a stray interview quote. That tension between honesty and career caution always existed in Hollywood, but seems magnified by the speed at which controversies go viral. So did Zendaya really pick a side or make a statement? The jury's still out and we might never know the truth. But the mere possibility has rocked fans, everyone scouring the internet for clues, analyzing Zendaya's public appearances, or rechecking any ephemeral likes and comments. In the grand scheme, it may be a flicker of drama compared to the overall Snow White meltdown, but it's a flicker that fans are fixated on because it involves one of the most respected young actresses in Hollywood. If she's truly stepping into the ring, or quietly stepping out, that alone will shape how the public perceives Rachel's predicament. In the end, the meltdown continues, fueled by every rumor, screenshot, or alleged eyewitness testimony. Rachel remains in the hot seat, with some calling her brave and others labeling her a liability. Disney is rumored to be pivoting its marketing strategy faster than ever, and curious fans are left to wonder if the final film will reflect the months or years of chaos. Meanwhile, Zendaya's name has been tossed into the swirl without her explicitly confirming a thing, reinforcing how unstoppable rumor culture can be. Did she show support or cast doubt? Is she a quiet ally, or did fans simply read too much into a fleeting moment? For now, it's as murky as ever. One thing's certain, the meltdown hasn't ended. Rachel's story is either a cautionary tale about speaking out or a testament to forging your own path in a high-stakes industry. Zendaya's involvement, real or imagined, adds a tantalizing layer of star power to an already explosive situation. If you thought the drama was cooling off, think again. The next revelation, the next rumor, or the next minor social media action might blast this fiasco right back to the top of your feed. Until then, the internet remains in speculation overdrive, determined to see how each player in this story emerges or goes under. And if you want an even deeper dive into how these controversies can derail entire productions, stay tuned for more, because the behind-the-scenes chaos is only growing louder.